Besties, welcome to Martinis with Eddie, your ultimate destination for everything Bravo. Join me as we spill the tea, dissect the drama, and uncork the juiciest gossip from your favorite reality TV shows. And we are gonna be talking about Salt Lake City, Orange County, and Southern Charm. I'm excited because I love all these three shows. I've been saying on Twitter that Bravo is having this renaissance with their shows. Like Salt Lake City last season was not so great, and this fourth season started really strong. Then we have Orange County that also had a terrible last season, but this season is coming back stronger. And the cast selection for the newbies in both shows have been quite on point. Also, I'm going to be talking about Southern Charm. Season 9 started with drama and fights, and I'm here for it. I'm honestly excited for the new season of Southern Charm, but I wanna leave the details for when we get to each franchise. I'm also gonna say I've been so busy with the move, you guys. I am struggling to maintain my work life, my personal life, my Bravo life, all like in order because with this move. But I'm excited that finally this Sunday we're gonna be heading down to a new place in Jersey. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna be right by New York City, and yeah, it's it's been quite fun. Um, so my husband came back today from the trip, and he's not a big Bravo fan. He is not really interested on Bravo stuff. He definitely doesn't care much for it. But sometimes I can convince him to watch the show with me. So today we decided to eat a special gummy and watch Salt Lake City. And when I tell you guys that that has been one of the funnest experiences that I had this week, it was freaking hysterical because his commentary just like blows my mind. Let's start by saying that he thought that Monica was Ashley Tisdale, like the whole entire time. He didn't even ask me who she was. He kept calling her Ashley Tisdale, and I thought that he was just joking. But then I asked him, like, why do you think that Ashley Tisdale joined the Housewives of Salt Lake City? He said, like, isn't it that the girl that was just on the screen just now? I'm like, no, that's Monica. And he's like, I thought for real that that was Ashley Tisdale. I was cracking up. And then every time that Mary made a face or anything that she said, he kept saying to me like, I think Bravo knows what they did by bringing Mary back because Mary is like the comedy relief that we need, and I'm really enjoying her commentary. Like, yeah, I think Mary's storyline as a friend this season is just being Mary and like narrating what's happening around her because I mean the stuff that come out of Mary's brain are insane. The episode start. I'm gonna talk about Salt Lake City first because yeah, it's been quite interesting. Um, there is a conversation between Lisa and Meredith where Lisa shared with her that Jack decided to postpone going to college so he can go into a Mormon mission, right? It doesn't seem to be a big issue between, you know, them two about it. I don't think they didn't see the negative of going on a mission, and they were having a great time. I'm so happy that Meredith and Lisa are starting to make amends and trying to fix their friendship because I like them together. I mean, they have a long story. They were friends before the show. They know each other for like a decade, and their families were really close. But seeing them like uh, falling apart and like not talking and always fighting was not fun last season. So I'm hoping that we might not get the full friendship back like it was before, but at least to a place where they can be cordial to each other. They can, be friendly, and that's fine. Um, I think what's really funny is like when Lisa arrived to the place where Meredith was waiting for her. She looked at her shoes and like she was like, "Those are not walking shoes. I feel underdressed." That's really funny. At the same time, Whitney and Heather were having a little like spa day going on. They're also trying to fix their friendship. This is a really interesting year for Salt Lake City when it comes down to rebuilding friendships, right? It seems like Meredith is trying to fix the stuff with Lisa and vice versa, and Heather and Whitney are doing the same. Bad weather, tornado, whatever. You guys know the whole thing. But so we learned that, when Heather went on a mission for her church, she went because a friend kind of like they just decided to go. So she's questioning what Jack's intentions are and if it's something that Lisa should be supporting. She's talking to Whitney about the death oath, which is like they promise not to talk about any type of ceremony when it comes to like going on a mission or about the church because it have a penalty, of death, which is to me is fucking insane. It's crazy. Uh, I do not affiliate to any organized religion, and I always felt like, every single church has some crazy ass like mentality and like kind of like way of doing things. Like who pled like oath to like dying if you talk about your church? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's such a cultish mentality. But I mean, to each their own. My mother is very Catholic. I grew up in a very Catholic family. So I understand how some, practices are extreme and I do not understand them. So I'm not trying to place any judgment on, the Mormon religion or anything because I have zero idea about it, like literally zero. But what we get from this show is like, to me, sounds extreme and intense. At the same time, I mean, this is when the question I was wondering, is this like a good situation for Heather to insert herself in somebody else's life? Or like Whitney said, like, I mean, it's a horrible idea for Heather to insert herself into Lisa's son's life decision, especially when it comes to religion. I agree. Um, I do see the point where so many people were saying that Heather is like that one person that can give some light about what she went through in her mission and how it's almost like brainwashing people because these people have no access to any information outside of their group. They have no communication with the outside world, and they have to believe what is being told to them. So like it sounds like a little social brainwashing. Um, so Heather's concern is that Lisa might be supporting something right now that she doesn't know how it's gonna impact Jack's, uh, you know, behavior or mentality in the long run. In the long run. So uh, I, I I want to agree with that sentiment that she should be the one kind of like raising the questions and talking to Lisa about it because she had that experience. But I have an issue with this scene and the way that she is going about it. Like honestly, like if she went to Lisa first and pull her aside and talk to her in a casual way, I'll be more willing to understand that she's concerned about Jack. But like talking about it behind Lisa's back. And Whitney was obviously not very invested on the story, and she kept saying that she's going to support her friend Lisa. And Heather did not stop. It was giving more like I'm trying to stir the pot. I'm trying to get under Lisa's skin, whatever. But I mean, it doesn't seem genuine concern. That's my main take on this, right? Um, do I believe that she should be sharing her experience with Lisa? Yes, I mean that is okay, because the problem in this is like we can't base everything on just our experience, right? On things, but we can share our experience so other people take that in consideration when they're making the life choices. But I don't think Heather is going over it in the right way at all. I would prefer Heather to not, interfere on Lisa's son's decision, because I mean he's a young adult. He's at that age that he's going to do whatever he wants to do. So the best thing to do is to make sure that you give them the tools to know what's good and what's bad, and trust that gut feeling. So yeah, Heather should not be involved in this. I think it's just camera time. Also, somebody who was getting a lot of camera time, at least for this segment, was Meredith Marks' husband Seth. I mean, they were talking about their podcast and their relationship going up and down, and how they plan on having this outlet to help marriages. At the same time, they were she was planning a trip to the Trixie Motel with the girls, and sharing that she was not gonna invite Angie K because she feels like there was no like good experiences previously to build a friendship. But I'm starting to feel like there was kind of like a plot to uh to ice her out so she didn't get her snowflake. And I think Lisa and Whitney have been doing the labor to carry Angie K on full-time position status, because if it was up to Meredith or Heather, we will not see NGK on both group events. So she went to Heather's snowball building whatever thing because Lisa invited her, and now she's going to the Trixie Motel trip because Meredith uh, didn't want her there, so Whitney took her with her as her plus one, right? So my take on this is like there was fear that Angie K was going to get that snowflake and be more involved with the women, so they were trying to avoid for her to get that snowflake. But I mean, this is reality TV. Things are gonna happen in a weird way. So yeah, it's funny how in this type of situation you kind of can tell the difference between reality and reality TV, because I mean, in real life, I don't think that people like invite people who are purposely not invited to an event just to be like, you know, shady. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, like that person can go. I mean, too bad. That would be most people's reaction, I think. And talking about an NGK, they show a really cute scene between her daughter and her husband, where we started to see more like family dynamic in her family, right? We started to see more the backstory, how she met her husband at a salon, how they became like a salon empire in Utah, and also how I couldn't stop thinking how much her husband looked like Nick Lachey for 98 Degrees. Like for one second, I thought he was Nick Lachey. Even my husband did too. I was like, I was gonna blame it on the magic gummy that we ate. But even when I watched Salt Lake City on Tuesday, that's all I kept thinking. I honestly, guys, I wanted to find a picture of Nick Lachey and put it next to a picture of Angie K's husband, and be like, is like, have you guys seen this person in the same place at the same time? because they look just exactly the same. I'm not lying to you. I mean, for those elder millennials out there, you know who I'm talking to. You know, those who were adult enough, like grown enough to remember what and who 98 Degrees was in the late 90s. You know the reference. I'm one of those. um, so yeah, I'm pretty sure the younger generation is gonna ask, like, isn't it Nick Lachey the host of a TV show on Netflix or something like that? No, he was in a pop band called 98 Degrees. They were trying to be like NSYNC. There was so many pop bands in the late 90s. I kind of missed that time. That time, the artists were dancing and performing, and it was so fun. Um, which, by the way, on Tuesday, while Salt Lake City was airing, NTV was airing the NTV Video Music Awards, and I was watching both. Just want to have a little quick break from Housewives for 1 second. I'm happy that for the very first time in a very long time, I felt like I was watching the old school. I felt like I was watching the old school NTV Video Music Awards where the performances were performing, when the artist was just doing what they need to do to entertain. I was very entertained, and I was so happy that my Latina queen Shakira was the one who got the Vanguard Award, because she's been out in the business since the 90s. I've been listening to her my whole entire life before I moved to America, because obviously Spanish speaking people, we love Shakira. So that's one thing. Connecting it to Salt Lake City, there is a new housewife. We all know Monica, and she is half Colombian, just like Shakira, and half Portuguese. We get a little more of her backstory on this episode. We saw her interacting with her mom and her daughter, and talking about how when she was married, she didn't have to worry about bills. She was taken care of, and she started this business of like baby blankets and stuff. So when the divorce happened, it became her source of income, and we get to see her like folding the blankets, talking about it with her mom, and then she proceeds to tell her mom that she's going on a trip to the Trixie Motel with the girls, and she was feeling like out of their league, which leads to the mom to ask why, and she said that she went to a Louis Vuitton store, and she's struggling to pay bills and stuff. So she decided to buy herself a bag to kind of have something nice around the girls. The problem that I see on this is like, I mean, she was being very open, and I like that about Monica. Monica so far has been giving us everything about her, that even just in 2 episodes, she feels like we already know her. So it's great to have a newbie that is not afraid to open the doors to her issues and her problems, and having like no she's not trying to decorate her life. She's like just like telling you, hey, I have like no money, and I'm going to Louis Vuitton, and I have to buy it because I want to impress the girls. I think this is why. I'm not saying that this is Monica's case. Let's be clear. This is like the first time that she mentions this, but we had seen many housewives over the years to go into financial troubles because of trying to flaunt a lifestyle that they can't truly afford. And it's usually like happens because they want to like over shadow the other housewives, the bigger houses, the bigger cars, the more, expensive closets and stuff. I remember back in the days, I don't know if you guys remember that part, but back in the days, especially the first few seasons in most of all these franchises, they used to rent the house and used to rent the furniture because, they wanted to like, make people believe that they had this obscene lifestyle and money, right? To the point that then afterward, a lot of housewives started to go into bankruptcy because they wanted to pretend they had that lifestyle even after the show was done, right? Um, so yeah, I'm hoping that Monica stays in a more humble path, in a path that she can afford, and she focused on the great thing that she has. Her own daughter gave her a great advice, saying like she doesn't need to do any of that. That her personality is more than enough. Um, yes, that's that's great. But then, there's a moment where she is talking about her dad. Monica started, she shared uh, the story on how she doesn't even know her dad anymore because the dad left them when she was a baby. The mom removed all the pictures and stuff of him, so she doesn't have like a visual image of him anymore. And she was wondering if she had a sibling or if the dad was still alive. And the only thing that she knew was that he was gay and had a boyfriend, and then he moved to Florida. That was such a whiplash. Like I was like, wait a minute, what? It was like a freaking roller coaster. Like, okay, the dad left with him when he was a baby, and then he disappeared, and then the mom removed the picture, and then he was gay. I was like, Jesus freaking Christ. That's freaking intense. Whew. There also new friendship being built in Salt Lake City. This time we see a double date between NGK and Whitney. This is the time where Whitney invite NGK to come um, to the Trixie Motel with her. I'm kind of interested to see how they're building this friendship because even when she was with Heather, Whitney, when she was with Heather at the spring water whatever spa, she kept talking really nicely about NGK, how they have friendship, and Heather was going off on how she can trust NGK because she had a perm in high school. Out of all the stuff to lose trust in somebody, a perm was what pushed Heather over the edge. And talking about Heather, she is in a different store with Monica. Right? Once again, even Heather said that she's gonna give her an opportunity to build a friendship and not judge her by who she is, which also means like she also was friend with NGK, who she had an issue with. But let's not forget that Monica was also involved with Jen Shaw. So there is many reasons why Heather might be a little kind of like worry about having Monica around, but it's good that at least on this season the women are clocked in enough for them to try to build friendship with other people. But on this little trip to the store, we found out why Monica was expelled from her church, her Mormon church. She just casually dropped the bomb that she slept with her brother-in-law for 18 months. She explained that she slept with her husband's sister's husband for like 18 months. And I'm like, well, that's crazy to just casually drop that bomb. She said that because she felt so bad about it, she went to her bishop and kind of like to repent, but instead she got expelled from the church. But the guy didn't, typical churches, whatever. But I was like, Jesus, like, oh my gosh, that, I mean, why is Heather writing the book about being a bad Mormon when we literally have somebody who was a Mormon sleeping with her brother-in-law for 18 months? She should be the one writing that book because that's bad, like really fucking bad, fucking intense. Like I mentioned before, we were watching today. I was watching it again because I already watched it on Tuesday, but my husband was traveling, so he just wanted to watch like a show. And the moment that he saw Mary talking to the people from the Trixie Motel, asking if they had a Dom Perignon from 2003, and then the menu, and she was upset that it was only pizza. He was like, I just think the mayor is such a very cuckoo person, um, in a good way. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, the only reason why I think Bravo got her back was because we needed uh, some comedy relief to actually enjoy this franchise. And I'm like, you know what? He's not that wrong. I mean, he's not that wrong. I think Mary brings a very out of this world type of comedy. The way that it's like so unintentional, like her facial expressions are always on point, and you can tell that she's not trying to put on a show because her reactions are very natural, you know. So I agree. I was dying laughing when she was talking with the Trixie Motel people. The fact that she thought there was Trixie Hotel, and then when she found out it's a motel, her face like kind of confused, like, why am I going to a freaking motel? By the way, isn't it funny that she was sitting next to her son on this scene, and we didn't get any answer about him being married or not? You know, like in the previous episode, Mary shared that she heard that her son has a girlfriend that now is his wife, but she doesn't know because she hasn't had the chance to ask him. Well, she's sitting next to him, and I think we needed to know. I want to know, like, what's happening with Mary's son? Is he married or not? Is does he have like a family in the basement that he go every morning and say hello to, and then just leave? I don't know. I want to know, like, what's happening. You know, um, I mean, only Mary will not know if her son is married or not. Honestly. And to end this episode in a very dramatic turning point, Lisa Barlow lost a $60,000 ring in a public restroom in an airport in Palm Springs. And that's the most Lisa Barlow things to happen to anyone. A 60,000 ring just literally slipped off her finger. And the women were looking for her for like 45 minutes, and she did not stop talking about it. They were on the freaking little minibus, and everybody's like, okay, we know, Lisa, like, come on, let's move on. But the funniest part is, like, I want to know who took the fucking ring. Is like anyone in the cast trying to play like a joke on her? That's what I feel like it is. I'm hoping that they get to find that ring. I hope this is not like a Black Eye part 2 where we never have a answer to the mystery. Do they find the ring? Do they find it like inside the toilet? Do they find the person who took it? Somebody took it. Did Heather hide it because she was just jealous? So many questions. I'm just gonna say that this season of Salt Lake City has definitely started really strong. I think everyone on that franchise has clocked in, and it's very important for franchises to move forward to have a really good casting shakeup. And even though it's not a big shakeup, because obviously, you know, Jen Shah was obviously going to jail, to prison, and she was not going to be joining the cast. So somebody needed to be added to the main cast. So Angie K took that spot, but bringing Monica on the mix has elevated the fun level of Salt Lake City, because as a newbie, she's not afraid to open up. She's not afraid to share her life and her struggles, and not hide that she is not as wealthy as the other ladies. And on the other hand, we have Mary coming back as, once again, that comedy relief that we need, because previous seasons have been so heavy and so not, I don't know, there was something missing, especially last season when it was so bad. And even that Jen Shah court footage at the end couldn't even save the show. I was shocked to see that it was renewed so fast, and they started filming so fast, because yeah, it was hard to watch. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that they were gonna cancel it. I was just thinking they might take a little longer to find that right combination of cast to to change the trajectory of the show, and they did it. They found uh, Monica. They brought back um, Mary, and they gave NGK her snowflake. So far, the casting decision has been on point, and I'm really happy about him. I'm still gonna see how this Heather Gay, you know, talking about Lisa Barlow's son storyline is gonna go, because that's gonna be intense. Because Lisa Barlow doesn't like people getting involved with her kid's life, and we know that Heather and Lisa haven't had that good of an history. But it can go the other way. It can go in the way that she shared her concern, Heather, with Lisa, and Lisa takes that concern in, and they have a great conversation that becomes kind of like a learning experience. Let's talk about Orange County now, because the ladies are in Mexico, and the one thing that I'm really annoyed with this season, it's the fact that everyone seems to be going after Heather for no reason. Heather Dubrow honestly doesn't need this show, and she makes this show better. For some reason, everyone is piling on her. They've been having this conversation about the house that she sold, that allegedly she hid from everybody. But as we now know, she even told Tamra on their flight down to Mexico, because Heather and Tamra flew private, because Heather pulled that private jet situation, because she can. And we saw on a video that my friend black heart blonde hair black heart share with everybody that he has, and it was Heather talking to Tamra about the selling of the house, and that it was closing, and they were celebrating it on this plane. But then when they got to Mexico, surprisingly, Tamra acts as if she didn't know, or she needed to hear from Heather, as if Heather didn't want to share with everybody else. It was so complicated, and it was a way to produce a fight for the show. A fight that at this point is getting tiresome, because one thing that I don't like is when the drama that is happening seems to come out of thin air. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and it's pushed by the idea of just getting a cast pretty much like iced out, or trying to get them out of the show, right? We haven't got to that point next week, but it seems like Heather Dubrow is gonna boil to the point that even saying that she is quitting the show right there on the spot. I mean, I highly doubt that happened. I think it's just like a dramatic moment. Tamra herself said that Heather Dubrow is needed for the show and Watch What Happen Live, because Andy asked a question like who needed to get the friend Dove treatment of current housewives, and Vicky said that Heather could be a friend of, because she doesn't need the Bravo check. And Tamra inserted herself and said like, no, we need Heather on the show. Like, we need her. Yeah, because she's the only wealthy one on the show. She's like the one who brings the wealth, and she is a very, polarizing person on the show, right? You either really love her or you just don't like her. And in those type of characters make people come back and watch the show, because they want to either cheer them on or they want to like bash them and troll them online. When a housewife is too hated, it's not a good thing. When a housewife is too liked, it becomes a safe housewife where people don't kind of like, get fights over, right? Because everybody likes them. But this very polarizing housewife keep the franchises moving, and the people coming back. I just feel like Heather hasn't done anything this season in particular that, I kind of like justify why every single one of the other ladies feel like Heather is not a good friend, or that she is, you know, talking down to them. And then they complain why she didn't share with them that she sold her house for $55 million. Like, what do you expect? Like, if she shared that with them, they're gonna say that she is bragging about the money. And now that she decided to keep it more like private, she's not sharing enough. These women need to pick a lane. At the same time, they're very quick to accept any gift from from Heather, because she brought some like boxes with like alcohol and some monogram items. And I'm like, I just really want a friend like Heather. I don't care. I mean, if she has the habit of bringing gift on a trip for each person, I'm like, yes, I need a friend like that. Where do I apply? Because I want that. I want the free gift. Like, I don't care. There's another huge fight going on in the Orange County, and it's Heather. I know it's Tamra versus Jen. We all know that Vicky joined them on this trip. We know that Vicky, it's Tamra's little body that tells her everything. And it seems like Tamra has shared a lot of her opinions on Ryan to Vicky. Vicky make a mention saying like she identified with Jen because Jen is going through something very similar of what she went through with all her exes and Brooks and stuff, right? Um, but why will Vicky insert herself on this? And it's so obvious that it was Tamra the one that told her, that once again raised the question: why is Tamra so obsessed with Jen's relationship? Doesn't make any sense to me. It gives the vibe that the Tamra is very jealous, and she was also mocking some like fake bag that Jen has, and like saying like, oh my gosh, she wears like fushi and 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 what's it called, the other ones? He said like three. She said Fondi, fushi, and funnel, or something like that, which is, Chanel, Gucci, and Fendi, saying like, oh no, she wears like all fake. But wasn't like Tamra also wearing fakes many times, and even selling her own clothing on those like pots pop shop or whatever it calls, where people like resell clothing, right? Like, Tamra shouldn't be being mean about people's, spending habits, because last time I checked, she's not wealthy. She's nowhere near Heather Dubrow wealth. She's rich, but she's not like mega wealthy. So it seems hypocritical. She just freaking closed her gym. So I'm pretty sure the the money in her house is not as, coming in as much. So I feel like that comment was very unnecessary. I mean, she was trying to be cheeky and funny, but it came off very mean girlish. Also, Vicky has this weird problems with Gina, and I think it's freaking hysterical. Even Gina called Vicky, Tamara, and Shannon the tres abuelas, the three grandmas. I was dying at that. Gina has become really good on confessionals. I'm not sure about her on the show as a housewife, but there is something about her commentary in her confessional that come off as really freaking funny. When she called them the tres amigas, the tres abuelas, I die, die, die. The worst part of this episode was, to me, was when Tamra said like, "You fucked your family up." She told it to Jen. Like, what would you say something like that? She said that you ruined your family. That those type of statements are so freaking um, hurtful. That what's the point? That's your friend, and over the course of the season, I still don't get why Tamra has gone so hard on Jen. There's no freaking explanation. The fact that she keeps saying that I'm worried about you, like you're my friend, um, it seems like Jen said, a way for her to stay relevant and within the group. Obviously, that also means being relevant on the show. And she hasn't brought anything. I mean, you guys, I want people to understand. People are saying that Tamra saved the show. To me, it was not just Tamra saved the show. I feel like everybody has clocked in a different level this season. Even the newbie Jen has been very open about her life. So the fact that people only give that praise to Tamra, I think is a stretch. I also think that Tamra has brought nothing on her own to the show. She can be a friend of, to be honest. Like Tamra could be a friend of just being messy, and that would be good enough. Because Tamra has a lot of personal issues in her household that she should be sharing on the show. So she has her own storyline outside, sitting on Jennifer's coattail, like riding her coattail by bringing her on this show to throw her under the bus and keep running over her every single time that she has an opportunity. I mean, Jennifer said, I thought we moved on from this, and there's always the same conversation. And that's what Tamra does. She doesn't have her own story, and it's really embarrassing. Talking about the Watch What Happened live appearance that I mentioned before, Andy asked Vicky, who was the nastiest or rudest housewife she had met, and Vicky said that it was John Mellencamp's daughter. I have to agree with her. I mean, I'm not talking about her as like, my experience is the same as other people. Some people are saying that she's very nice in person. My experience with John Mellencamp's daughter is that she is rude or maybe extremely socially awkward, which I don't believe. I had one exchange with her during BravoCon last year. She might not know who I am, or maybe she knows because she probably see my tweets when I call her like funny names and whatever, like like she's boring or she's unnecessary for the show, and like she's still trying to get back on Housewives, but she's not interested enough to do so. That she runs a very questionable fitness business and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure she had read some of those comments that I have made about her. But running into her at BravoCon and kind of giving me this nasty look, like it was very bizarre because the eye contact was very weird and awkward. Um, and she's there. So I feel like either she was trying to figure out who I was, or she knew who I was and she didn't want any type of interaction. It was very strange. And I was not going to because I'm not interested either. So I have to agree with Vicky. To me, and compared to any other interaction for any other Bravo Lab, she was like the rudest person. Some other people are saying that she's been nice, but like I said before, my experience, when I talk from my experience, I'm gonna tell you how it is, and I'm not trying to like hate on somebody or whatever, or adding my opinion on Vicky as like I'm Vicky's mouthpiece, because somebody even said like I'm probably being paid by Vicky to talk about Teddy, because this is the new trend on Bravo world. It's crazy how suddenly, out of the blue, every single podcaster is paid by one of the Bravo Labs, or like we work for them, or something crazy like that. So many people have said that I've been paid by Garcelle, by that I'm paid by Teresa, or I'm paid by Louis. I'm also allegedly on Jennifer Aiden's payroll. I mean, at this point, I might be really fucking rich, and I have no idea because I don't see the checks. I do know that some people do stuff for $500 Walmart gift cards. If I was to get paid for my work, trust me, $500 at Walmart. By the way, I've never been to Walmart and I never will go to Walmart. Um, but because I don't like to shop there, I think it's chaotic and it's crazy. Um, but if I'm going to charge somebody to put information out there, it's going to be way more than $500. Way more, because I know the power of social media. So for people to think that I'm in like 20 different housewives payroll, I wish I was. So, but I'm not. But that was my experience with Melancan, and I agree with Vicky 100%. And talking about Vicky too, if you are going to BravoCon like I am, during the BravoCon, there's always one big event that is like the opening event of like the weekend. Usually happens Friday night. Last year was the Legends Ball. It was glitzy, it was glamorous, it was really fun. Every single Bravo that was there was really fun. But this year, the Legends Ball is going to be called the Bravos, an award show where there's going to be many, nominations and whatever. It's like kind of like the Oscar for Housewives. And this year, Bravo's giving their first Lifetime Achievement Award to one housewife. And during this Watch What Happened Live, Andy revealed that Vicky is the recipient of that award. Do I think she deserves it? Yes. Is she my favorite housewife? No. If who I will give this award to, maybe Teresa Giudice or Lisa Vanderpump. Those will be my choices. Either Teresa or Lisa Vanderpump. They both are iconic, but obviously Vicky is the first OG of Bravo. Like, she has cemented part of the Orange County history, and obviously Orange County is the kind of like where everything started. So also really funny on the after show, Dylan, who's part of the Betches podcast, he was there at the bartender, and he asked the ladies who they will give the Lifetime Award beside Vicky, right? And Tamra said Teresa. Funny enough, wasn't she saying that Teresa was the most overrated housewife in history like a couple of months ago when she was trying to have a beef with Teresa? And now that Teresa didn't pay her dust and her fans, some fans turned her back at Tamra for talking bad about Teresa, suddenly she will give Teresa that award. Interesting. Doesn't seem like she's trying to do some PR tactic to get some fan back. A little side note: the Housewife of New York reunion was filmed last night, and Andy showed the set and the sitting chart. Which, by the way, I'm surprised the Jen Alliance isn't sitting next to Andy, but I'm okay with Jessel and Aaron because they have both been involved in a lot of the drama in this season. I'm still trying to remember if Aaron and Jessel got into any fight with each other. I don't think so. Oh yeah, actually, I'm such. I mean, this is the problem when I take one of those special gummies. My mind just like have like a short memory, and I just remember that the iconic Tribeca is an up and coming neighborhood. Commentary happened in a conversation between Aaron and Jessel, and that's the beginning of the issues with the girls because Jessel was being it was shading Aaron's house left and right. when they went to the Hamptons at the beginning of the season. So I can see why. Um, and Jessel has been one of the most surprising people on that show because I wasn't expecting her to rise to be one of the the funniest, uh, quickest, and with like reactions, and her family dynamic is really fun. So good for Jessel has been the to me like the underdog of that season where nobody saw her coming and then suddenly she's like very liked by the fans. I'm very interested to see what happened. It seems like there was a lot of crying. Andy said like this is like the reunion with more Kleenex being used in housewife history. And once again, this is their first time as a cast having a full reunion going on. So props to the ladies. Based on what Andy said, that they all deliver, and I'm excited. This is part of getting to know the new cast, and I'm here for it. Let's talk about Southern Charm real quick. Southern Charm started last night, and this season nine is looking like it's going to be a hot ass mess in a good way. The whole Taylor, allegedly hooking up with Austin, and Taylor is like best friend with Olivia, who used to date Austin last year. Even during BravoCon, they were together because Austin wanted to try it again. But then a week later, he broke up with Olivia, and that's how Olivia and Taylor bonded. But now there's this huge problem because obviously Austin made a move on Taylor, and it seems like it was, embraced. But we will know that as the season goes by. On this first episode, we see a lot of Craig, Shep, and Austin on our TV screen. And to be honest, you guys, I love Southern Charm. I love how messy it is, how crazy it is. The storylines are freaking out of this world. And the funniest part is, the boys act like frat boys. Like they all in the late 30s. Shep is 43. And they all act like they still in high school. And it's freaking hysterical to a point, right? Craig is struggling with Paige living in New York City, like back and forth. He wants to move forward with starting like a more kind of like finding a base where they both live like full time. I don't think Paige truly wants to move to Charleston. Paige is a New Yorker through and through, and I can say from my own personal experience, I lived in the city for many years. I grew up in the suburbs in Jersey, and then during the pandemic, my husband and I bought a house in fucking mumbo jumbo upstate New York. And I'm not talking like Long Island upstate. I'm talking about living and like 45 minutes, half an hour from the border from Canada. So we are like in the freaking mountains. So I was excited for like the first month, and then the magic wore off because I am somebody who likes noise, somebody who likes tall buildings and having people open the door as you walk into stores and all the stuff that only the city can provide, like the cultural experience, the music, the fashion, the diversity, the food. You know, uh, you can't find that anywhere else, pretty much. I mean, it's you just find it in very populated cities. So I'm happy that I'm moving back this Sunday. So that's how I understand where Paige is coming from. I don't think she's ready to leave New York City because family's here, because her friends, her job, and I hope she doesn't move away for a guy just for the sake of being with a guy. Because look what happened to Taylor and Shep, right? On the last episode of last year's season, Shep asked Taylor to quit her job, right, and go and travel the world with him, and she will be fine. And guess what? After the first trip, they broke up. So she ended up with no job and no boyfriend, and he's fine because he's a trust fund baby, so he's completely fine traveling the world, but she's not. So I'm hoping that ladies out there start thinking with your head and not your heart, because the heart break easily, and then you are left with nothing, right? That's why I think Paige is kind of like not sure what will be the next step. And dating a long distance is difficult, right? Another big storyline this episode is Austin meeting Brett, who is Madison's husband, um, who he hasn't met. And he was surprised that he got invited to their wedding celebration. I mean, Madison got married in Mexico, but she decided to have like a party with friend in Charleston, right? And they invited Austin, and Austin brought a box, and he started shaking like, "Oh, it's a bomb." It was so embarrassing and corny. I was like, why this man who's like a big muppet? It's like freaking Big Bird, right? It's so awkward and weird. And then he had the audacity to say like, what does Madison see in this guy Brett? What does he have that I don't? And I do. The guy is a family guy. The guy's extremely good looking. I mean, if you put in a balance who's better looking, Austin or Brett, I'm pretty sure it will tilt more towards Brett. I mean, I need to have like a poll where people can vote on my Twitter, because I want to know who people think is better looking, Austin or Brett. You know, Madison's husband. The whole thing was awkward. The whole thing was very weird, but the party is beautiful, and that's the one thing about Southern Charm. Southern Charm, compared to the other franchises, it's just messy, but they are messy while they are partying, like either at a club, at a bar, on a wedding thing. During this party, to say, I mean, to start with saying that Taylor gifted Madison and Brett a dildo. That was messy. That was messy. She was doing the most, and I'm here for it. Also, we see a big fight between Craig and Taylor, because Taylor feels like Craig had the obligation to tell her what Shep was doing, because she wasn't only just like acquaintance, they became really close, and she understood that Craig was Shep's friend, but also she was her friend and the victim of Shep's actions. And I mean, I'm kind of torn on this one, but I'm leaning more towards Taylor. I know this is a very controversial perspective to take, because a lot of people are on Craig's side, but I always feel like Craig gets away with everything because he's like the better looking guy on the show, so everyone falls for Craig. But Craig is just following the old school uh, bro code, and that is good in everything. But at the same time, if Craig was being super friendly with Taylor, he should have say something to her, be like, "Hey, this is what happened." You know. At the same time, the bro code is a strong bond between two friends, so you know I can see that too. But there is something about Craig being so messy for so many seasons with the ladies, especially. You know, if you have watched Southern Charm from the beginning, um, Craig has been a little like a pot stirrer. Like he likes to stir the pot and then just like act like, oh my gosh, why are you coming after me? Like, yeah, you tossed the grenade, and when it exploded on everybody, you tried to hide your hand, right? And I feel like that's what he's doing right now. when he was leaving, he even said like, "Oh, if I didn't stop him, he would have fucked that girl." And the girl that they're talking about is Mia from Southern Hospitality. And one thing that I'm going to say, I know Mia. I met her when I went to Charleston. We went to brunch, and she was super sweet. And one thing that I can say for sure is that she has standards. She has very high standards, and Shep doesn't seem to be one of those for her. She even posted on her Twitter, and I have to retweet it because it's true. She said like, please leave me out of this Shep gate. Like I have standards. No. But yeah, he was Craig was doing a lot, and Taylor seems to be the one that is gonna be bringing the drama. Who would have thought that Taylor was the person who was gonna be the catalyst to this show to go back to their old school mess? But I'm kind of tired and exhausted of having Austin, Shep, and Craig getting the most freaking screen time. I need more Leva in my life. I need more Leva. I need more Vanita. I need more newbies, like the Rods. I want to see them. I want to get to meet JT on the newbie too. So I'm just seeing the the production is editing this in a way where we are seeing how the whole Olivia versus Taylor and Austin's thing happened, because allegedly the whole rumor and the whole thing came to light as they were filming, but not at the beginning. It was more like middle towards the end. So I'm guessing that the editors now are trying to piece the show together to make that the storyline kind of like Scandable, but it's not gonna live up to the expectation that Scandable put on every other Bravo show. It seems like cheating or some crazy storyline like that is going to be the premises of like a lot of shows. Like we have Southern Charm with Austin, Taylor, and Olivia. We have Vanderpump Rule with the Rachel, Sandoval, and Rihanna mess from last season. Summer House, we have Lindsay and Craig calling off a whole wedding like a month and a half before it happened. And all this mess is going to be on the same stage at BravoCon, and I'm going to be there in person for the taping of the Watch What Happened Live, which is now called the Bravo Lives, BravoCon Live, Charming House Rules. So it's going to be people from Southern Charm, people from Southern Hospitality, people from Summer House, and people from Vanderpump Rules on the same stage. So if they bring the messes to the stage, I'm going to be living my Super Bowl dream. So, and I'll be bringing you all the tea, trust me. It's so close. I can feel it. It's coming. I love it. Whew, you guys. Yeah, it's been quite the messy week in a good way for Bravo. And I'm happy that we are getting this new renaissance for Bravo shows. Like I said before, the casting for these shows are delivering great shakeups. I'm here for it. And if you have any other question, please make sure that you can reach out to me in all my platforms. And I have a couple of people coming on very soon. I'm very excited about that. And if you want to get notified, you can simply follow me on my YouTube channel to join the conversation, or subscribe to my podcast, where you can get the podcast almost immediately after I'm done recording the live. I'm also will appreciate you guys if you can go and follow me on Twitter and follow me on Instagram, because that's where the hot tea happen like daily. You can find tweets about every single show on my Twitter account. But most importantly, you guys, for you guys to show me some love, just leave a rate on my podcast, because that helped me to like survive on this content creators ocean. We are so many. Next week we have New York. on Sunday, and we have all the Housewives. I'm going to make sure that I keep the same schedule as I have it, but as I mentioned before, I'm moving back to Jersey this Sunday, so packing is gonna be crazy. So if you have an issue with like the podcast or anything, that's why I'm asking you to subscribe so you can get notified. But I should stick to my same schedule on Mondays and Fridays. And I have a guest coming next week, and it's going to be a very interesting one for those who really love New Jersey. It's gonna be a surprise. Okay, besties, I am so happy that we get to talk about Bravo on a weekend, and I hope that I'll see you next week. Enjoy this weekend, you guys. It's the beginning of the fall in some areas. The temperature is dropping, so the leaves are gonna start changing, and the best time to be a Bravo fan is usually the fall, because it's when Beverly Hills comes back in November. Married to Madison, we have Winter House. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be a good fall for all of us Bravo labs, and BravoCon is happening in 49 days. So make sure to subscribe to all my platforms so you can get all the tea directly from BravoCon. Okay, you guys? Have a great weekend, you guys. And like I always say, stay with me. Bye, besties.